my name is Christy and I'm sorry. It sounded like there were aliens in front of my house right now. That was the weirdest siren I've ever heard. It's currently about the beginning of summer and yeah, I've got lots of knitwear on. Don't mind that, just don't pay attention to that. But it's midsummer, which means that I have a little bit more downtime and it's the best time to start making a lot of knits and sewing a lot of stuff so that I have everything I want to wear ready for the winter. My husband and I recently just chopped our closet in half. Well, you know what I mean. Essentially, we bought some more closet organizers, and while we were trying to reorganize things, we ended up throwing out, donating, and getting rid of quite a few things that we don't wear or use anymore. With eradicating half of our closet space, I've gotten a whole lot of inspiration for how I want to slowly fill it back up again with some fresh knits and sewing projects. So I'm inspired this time to make an all-new lounge set. I thrifted the Simplicity 8424 pattern and I like what's going on with the D and B patterns. And I'm going to be pairing it with the Color Block Cardi by the Bluebird Pine Shop. I got this one off of Etsy, but you can also find it on Ravelry. The cardi is kind of sort of a stash busting project because I have a whole bunch of leftover yarn from another project, but because I don't have enough, I'm going to run to the store and see if I can grab some additional yarn skeins to help make sure that I have enough for the cardigan. And I think I'm going to go with this lovely forest green color. The original cardigan doesn't have buttons, but I found these and change of plans. I'll explain why in a few. So originally for my fabric choice, I was gonna go with this black stretch jersey and these mushrooms here, but I looked at my other stash and this spruce knit jersey and this floral, I think just goes so much better. Yeah, I like this look. Eventually I am going to be making the mushroom and black pair up, but for now, we're definitely going floral and spruce. Okay, so the reason why I was super excited about these buttons is because I had bought 2 of these, I kid you not, 7 or 8 years ago, and I could not find another pair like these. So when I found these at the store, I had to get them because there were only 2 left, and they match the actual cardigan perfectly. This is the Color Block Cardi pattern that I'm going to be using, all printed out, looking nice. And the original pattern only shows 2 colors. You have the complementary color that starts on the bottom and the main color that starts on the top. And because I plan on using 3 different colors, I'm thinking about making it so that the bottom here, the complementary color, starts off in this lovely tweedy green over here. And then towards the middle of the torso, I'm going to work in the oatmeal, and then the top and the sleeves are going to consist of the cream colored yarn. Also, I'll cross this bridge when I get to it, but guys, I hate working with circular needles. I don't like them at all. So luckily for me, I do have long, regular straight needles, and I can normally I can escape with using my super long needles, but something tells me I'm going to need to eventually buy myself circular needles just for this project, but we'll see. I'm gonna try to give it a shot because these are already pretty long. The truth is, I have 2 other sweaters in the making. However, they are a little bit more complicated than what I'm working on today. So even though I'm kind of guilty of having more than one knit project going on at a time, it is nice to actually work on something that's knitting up pretty quickly that I can probably get finished in about, let's say, a week or so. I finished about 11 inches worth of knitting in a few hours, and so far so good. This is looking super pretty. It's the next day, and after some hazelnut huckleberry pancakes, I'm ready to continue. It's now time to add the oatmeal color, which I'm going to add right on to the next row. My goal is to finish the back panel in about maybe 3 to 4 days, and then hopefully I'll finish the front panels within the same amount of time, knock out the sleeves, and if all goes well, I can finish the sweater in 10 days total. It's a brand new day, and I figured I'd share what I've knitted so far. So this took me about, I would say, 3 days since I started, and it's knitting up very nicely. I've got the dark green, I've got the oatmeal, and I've got the cream here, and it's so soft. Oh my gosh, it's so soft. And I love the contrast between the oatmeal and the green, and the very, very, very slight, delicate contrast of the cream and the oatmeal. Now, I did have to make some changes because when I was knitting up the pattern, it was essentially saying that it needed, where is it? I had to knit up about 11 inches of the complementary color and then 26 inches of the main color. Now, when I added that up, obviously that doesn't come to 26 inches as the back length, so I think that's just a minor error in the pattern. That actually comes to 37 inches because 26 plus 11, 37. So I did make an adjustment where I decided to measure myself and create a back length of 28 inches. And so I'm going to continue with using the green at 11 inches, and then I only knitted 6 inches of the oatmeal and 11 inches will be knitted for the cream, so that I get 28. And the cool thing about knitting is that, oh well, a pattern like this I think that's pretty forgiving, so I can simply just make and change measurements as I go. And I honestly have to do that regularly anyway, just because I have long arms, so I always have to adjust the arms when I am knitting or sewing a piece. So no big deal. We're going to continue. Coming to you now in bum mode. My husband and I just cleaned out our closets and reorganized them, and we got rid of so many things that we no longer use and things that are probably like maybe a decade old or more. And it is so cool that I now have a spot to place all of my knits and weird sewing projects that just don't kind of work well with hangers. And I just love how everything looks. Look how cute. These two are my wool knitting sweaters, and with the exception of the one that I'm knitting right now, I think I'm kind of done with like the super chunky knits, because look at how much space they're taking up. It's taking up so much space, and I could barely fit everything else. And if I move this to the side, these are smaller sweaters that I've knitted with worsted weight yarn, which is a little bit more closet friendly, I guess I would say, than the super chunky ones. And I love to wear them, but I think I need to just chill out with those sizes. And then here I have my clothes kind of sort of in color order. And one thing I've been loving about making my own clothes has been the fact that I can actually see a clear preference for color that I couldn't see when I was just buying clothes. Like the clothing colors that I prefer to wear, they actually don't really exist. I've had to find colors that I've liked in fabric shops and put it together myself, because you don't really see too much of like eucalyptus or like super dark greens like this, or even kind of like these super mellowed out purples and raisin colors. Okay, so the back of the cardigan is finished and it's so pretty. Isn't it pretty, Cleopatra? So in the original pattern, you're supposed to actually just leave the last remaining stitches on, oh my goodness, a spare piece of yarn. However, I do not know how to do what's called the 3-needle bind off, and yes, I could look it up and all that, but right now I don't feel like it, so I decided to use the method that is most familiar to me, which is to bind off normally and then attach the panels, the back and front panels together using the invisible seam method. I'm going to do that instead. I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal if I use a different bind off method, but I think the colors are so pretty. Aren't they pretty? Yes, they're so pretty. I'm a little bit burnt out from all the knitting, so I'm going to take a break, tie my hair back, and start the sewing portion of the leisurewear. Okay, so I've been procrastinating this part for a while. I hate cutting out patterns. And with this little thing here, it's gotten a lot harder to cut out patterns. Cleopatra. In order to preserve the pattern and make any size that I want, what I'm going to do is unfold this and transfer the sizes that I need onto pattern paper. As all cat owners understand, I now have to work around my cat instead of moving my cat in order to successfully cut out this pattern. So I've decided to cut out the fabric for the floral print, the top, and I'm debating if I want to do the mushroom one too while I'm at it since the pattern's already out. But I'm exhausted. I've been cutting out pieces all day. I think I might quickly cut it out. I might quickly cut out the leggings too for the solid green. And then I definitely need a break. I'm kind of tired, I'm hot, time to take a walk, maybe eat something, and we'll see how I feel later in the day. I didn't cut anything out. I really needed a break. Probably not so much sewing, but knitting can be sedentary, so I like to take breaks every now and then, clear my head, get some rest. This way when I'm ready to go back to work, I can read the patterns a little bit more clearly. While on my walk, I check to see if the blackberries that grow near me are ripe yet, and there's a couple of ripe ones poking out here and there. But I'm gonna have to wait a few extra weeks, maybe days. So I did something completely wrong. Man, I was trying to put together the panels for the top today, only to realize that I didn't even cut them correctly. I'm doing top D, and I stupidly forgot that piece number 10 is supposed to be on a fold, and I did not do that. And I don't have enough fabric because I cut the rest to make pieces and panels for a potential swimsuit. Yes, I agree completely. Oh man, I'm trying to decide if I want to make adjustments or if I should just go to the store and buy more fabric, but I don't want to do that. I've spent enough money on fabric. Let's see, what am I gonna do? Because this just isn't it. I don't have enough panels and it's not working. This is supposed to be, this is supposed to have another section to it. So I'm going to have to actually sacrifice the lining of my swimsuit and turn it into that folded piece. It still doesn't quite fit, because if I were to put this on top and try to cut it, this is kind of messy, I'm still going to have this piece left over. And so what I'm going to do is try to piece it together using some additional scrap fabric, because I don't think anyone will notice that. And then I'm going to create that fold so I can complete the top. I hope that made sense. I really had to Frankenstein that back together. Okay, so I'm not going to sweat this monstrosity, mainly because the actual shirt or the actual tank top is going to be ruched on the sides. So between this being the ugliness on the back and the fact that this is a pattern print that will be ruched, I don't think anyone's going to really notice the very haphazard way I've had to put this back together. Yeah, we're gonna just keep on rolling with the punches. Oh my gosh, this is why don't I ever learn? Don't sew when you're tired or stressed out. So after all that Frankensteining I did, I didn't even cut the fold in the correct section. I cut it here instead of here. So I pieced all this together for nothing. I'm mad because it's too janked up for me to really want to go ahead with it, go through with it, I mean. So I think I'm going to just maybe work on just the, no, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to not work on it at all, take a break, and go hopefully find some more of this fabric. I hope they have some left at the store, and start that part over, because this is really ridiculous. Okay, so I couldn't help myself. I decided to Frankenstein it back in the correct shape, and it doesn't look too bad, so we're gonna roll with it. Again, hopefully that's the last time I have to worry about fixing something. So what it looks like I have to do is gather the armhole edges up here, and then pull up the gathering stitches in to match, to match the large dots on the armhole binding and shape the shoulder strap. At least that's what the pattern says. I think I know what they want me to do, so. But we're gonna do this another day because all that piecing was really stressful. I am excited to say that the cardigan is about halfway completed, maybe a little bit more so. This is actually the second front panel, and it's halfway done. So once I'm done with this panel, then all I have to do is sew, do the invisible seam method to sew the panels, the front and back panels together, and then sew the sleeves. And then I think I figured out how I'm going to attach the buttons to the cardigan. I think the cardigan's going on a lot better than the shirt is. So I totally lied about being done for the day because I'm super hard-headed and I can't help myself. So I actually ended up getting quite a bit done here. What I'm doing right now is just ruching the edges of the pieces, and the instructions ask for a piece of elastic to be sewn into certain portions of the shirt. And I believe this is to help make sure that it stays secure on my body. This part was actually pretty fun, and I would have continued further, but it's starting to get dark outside and I really want to take a break because I've been doing this pretty much all day long. So lesson learned, I'm going to do a better job of just following instructions and stop being hard-headed. Oh, I'm going to try at least. The stitches were facing in the wrong direction, so I ended up just putting the back and front panels together and sewing the seams using a back stitch. God, I swear this cat. So now what I'm going to be doing is taking a smaller needle to help me pick up and knit 40 stitches along the front and back panels so that I can make the sleeves. To ensure that I have an even number of stitches on each side, I'm taking 2 separate needles and picking up and knitting 20 stitches on either side of the seam. I'm then going to scoot all of those stitches onto a single needle, and then as the pattern states, I then have to purl across the row. While trying not to die of allergies, I'm now stitching the tank top together. You might notice that my Frankenstein stitching is not very neat, and it's mainly because I'm still trying to figure out the proper tension for the top. I was noticing a lot of skip stitches, and I don't have an overlocker, which honestly I don't plan on buying one anytime soon because, you know, gotta save some money for those types of things. So I'm just doing my best to try to make it as neat as possible so that at least it fits right. But now that I know what I'm doing as far as how to assemble this particular pattern, I plan on being a lot neater and using a better tension setting for the next top. As I continue sewing the elastic pieces onto the panels, you'll notice that the stitching is progressively getting better. Here I'm just checking the measurements of my straps to make sure that they're even. This particular top doesn't have any adjustable straps or features, so I want to make sure that when I put this on, it doesn't have this situation where one strap is falling off my shoulder or too tight. I want everything to be as comfortable as possible. Okay, so far so good. I'm not finished yet. I still have to finish up these straps here and fix some of the shaping, but I'm going to tighten up the ruching on the side, see if that helps. Another thing I'm probably going to fix or change in the future is give this a little bit more length because I'm not a huge crop top wearer. Like, it's really cute. I'm going to keep it that way, but this is not normally what I go for. But other than that, I'm pretty satisfied with what it's looking like, considering this is the very first time I've done a tricky pattern like this. Day, I'm gonna go take a walk, get some exercise, and see if some of those blackberries that are nearby are ready for picking. Okay, we're getting there. Not quite yet, but we're getting there. A couple of nice black ones there. Not too many. Okay, so now that I'm back, it is now time to start the pants, and what I'm going to do actually, because I want these to be high-rise, I'm going to extend the waist by about 2 inches, and hopefully that'll give me the coverage that I would like for me to wear these comfortably. So what I've done is cut out the panels for the front and back, and I have to cut 2 of each. And I'm going to do all that in the lovely spruce color. So I adjusted my settings and it looks like the skip stitching has stopped. These look really, really nice and neat. So all I'm gonna do is just cut around the side, so trim the edges. Okay, so I like how they look. They're just a little bit on the big side. I still have to do the elastic waistband here. I'll probably bring these in a little bit. And then for the calves, it's a little bit loose, so everything looks just a little baggy. But so far, I love these. They're really comfortable. And I haven't had cotton leggings this comfortable since the ones that I bought ages ago. I think I might have to also bring in the middle area because this is really baggy. Maybe I'll size down the next time I make these. I went with my usual legging size, which is a large because I have very wide hips, but that's an easy fix. I just have to take in the seams a little bit. And it's a nice length too, not too long, not too short. Here I'm adding the elastic to the leggings using a safety pin. Okay, so now it's time for a little bit of a test wear. So far, not too bad. I actually kind of like it. However, as I stated before, not much of a crop top fan. So even though crop tops are nice and everything, still not something I typically prefer to wear. But I can handle it for these because this is supposed to have a high-waisted legging to go with it. With that said, I added 2 extra inches to my waistline for the leggings, and I think it's a bit too much. I wasn't quite supposed to have this, all of this coming pretty much up to my bust. That wasn't really the idea. So I think it would have looked better if I just stuck to the original pattern and then just kept it like around there. And like that, it is pretty cute with the crop top. Now, how do I want to fix this going forward? I think what I'm going to do, as much as I don't want to, is take off the original band and take out the elastic, remove those extra 2 inches, and then just sew the elastic into the waist side. What I'll probably do is bring the leggings down a little bit so that they're here instead of all the way up here. And that should also get rid of all this extra bagginess because I've got a relatively slim waist. This is too much. Like, I don't like all of this making my front look extremely baggy and sack-like. So we're gonna get rid of that. Okay, so I've removed the original waistband. And so what I'm gonna do now is sew the elastic directly into the leggings. So I'm gonna fold this over and I'm going to tuck the raw edge in like this. And then I'm going to zigzag stitch all the way around so that the elastic is directly encased into the leggings. And I think it'll solve the weird bagginess. After putting this in, it already looks 10 times better. I'm so excited. I'm going to now sew everything together and hopefully this will make the leggings look a whole lot better. All right, So definitely not perfect, but definitely a whole lot better. We're going to just stick to the pattern next time. I don't think I need to add the whole high-waisted thing now that I look at it. Oh, these are so cute. The last thing I just have to do is hem up the legs. So I couldn't get around it. I ended up needing to buy the circular needle so that I could knit the collar. I found that the easiest way for me to do this was to actually divide the yarn into different balls so that I could actually knit starting with the green side, then move on to the oatmeal side, and then finally the cream side here, and going back to oatmeal and green. It was a little bit clunky, but it worked out. Once I was done, I started doing every knitter's favorite part of knitting, which is to weave in those ends. Oh boy, this took forever. I feel like I spent a whole day doing this. I would rather knit 2 sweaters than weave in ends. It's that annoying. Now I got to my favorite part, which is to add buttons. I don't know why this is so fun for me. The original pattern doesn't have directions for buttons, so what I did was use stitch markers to indicate where I wanted the buttons to be placed on my cardigan. I sewed the buttons into place using green thread. I'm so glad that it took me years to find more of these buttons because these buttons are just a match made in heaven. They are just perfect for this cardigan. I was having such a great time sewing them into place, and I couldn't wait to put this thing on because the color scheme was just mwah. I loved it. I should also add that when I was knitting this button band, I did make a modification so that it included buttonholes. It would kind of be, I just feel sorry for the person who would sew on the buttons and realize, oh shoot, there are no holes for the buttons to actually go into. So I did this off camera, but I did add the pockets and sewed on my little label onto the back of the sweater. I think it came out really nice. I have to admit, this was very fun to make. All the patterns were very easy to follow, and even though I could have done better with some of the fitting, overall, I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. My least favorite part of the outfit is the tank top. I really hated the fact that I have some warping here, but hey, not gonna lie, loving my back right now. The next time I make this top, I'm also going to try to even out the front so that I don't have to fidget with the layers so much. As for the leggings, they are so comfortable. Like, I miss having cotton, just pure cotton leggings. It kind of stinks that everything is polyester now. My favorite piece is definitely the cardigan. It's so deliciously chunky and warm and soft, and I love the color scheme. I'm really feeling these buttons. And it has pockets! Don't mind me while I'm just wilding out in this me-made outfit. I'm just so excited that it's done and that it looks good. If you made it to the end, thank you for joining me on this me-made wardrobe adventure. I hope you enjoyed. If you like what you see, please rate, comment, and subscribe so I can continue doing this on my channel.